T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Own it, own it, own it, Kong. I own it. It did.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
On the planet. we are here live for Miz and Mrs. Now, normally, I am joined by my tag team partner, who, if you have not heard, she is currently on the injury list. News is still out. We have no idea when she will be back. I don't know why TK, our own CEO. Do you have on a John Cena shirt? John Cena. Wow.
Is there something wrong to just 6 to 8 months? That is incorrect. That's not happening at all. 6 to 8 months.
Listen, Santana, we miss you. Happy birthday. You got 25 minutes left. My girl turned 48 today. I mean, the milestones are just crazy. I don't know what,
Can you miss somebody if you talk to them all day? I mean,
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's how it works. Listen, before we get into Miz and Mrs., I have to remind these people that the Salt Shakers are a true tag team. We travel together, we eat, sleep, breathe together. We spend 20 hours of 24 days together. And not only that, we are the dominating tag team here at Women's Wrestling Talk. But listen, I wouldn't have it no other way, honestly. TK, the CEO of Women's Wrestling Talk. What did you think about tonight's episode?
Actually, I thought it was hilarious. I used to cover this show at AfterBuzz. So it's been a minute since I've seen this show. And I actually like taking breaks from things. So it's been a minute. I think I saw the first season. So I think we're like season 3. So I kind of skipped the season. So yeah, I liked it. I found them hilarious. And couple goals.
Couple goals, yeah. I mean, obviously, because they are the it couple, as we learned tonight. But let's just jump right on into it, okay? So tonight it starts off, we see them trying to get the family together, doing the laundry and everything. And yeah, that doesn't end too well. Laundry all over the house. It just doesn't work. I don't know. I know my laundry days go crazy, but not like this. Because listen, I'm living a single life, and I'm moving back home with my parents, so I kind of have to like rearrange my laundry schedule around them. But they were doing a lot, and they ended up tussling a little bit, and it seemed like Miz. I don't know. It seemed like Miz was not really, happy about being in between Maurice's legs.
That's why he stayed there longer.
He did. Now, as we go into the show, of course, we see the beautiful scenery of the house. I always love the B-roll that we get before the clips because honestly, they have one of the most beautiful houses, honestly.
Did they ever, because they say that house is in Los Angeles. but I don't think that house is in Los Angeles. Did they ever mention where this house is? Like
That
what
I'm
part
not
of
sure, but
California?
I know they show Muhammad, who has children by former Real Housewife Beverly Hills star Yolanda. They always show his house. That's his house at the top of the hill that they always show in Los Angeles. So it made me think that it was in Los Angeles, but I'm not sure. For some reason, I know they're not in Ohio, but
No, definitely not.
that
I
doesn't.
mean, it could be anywhere in like they could do Calabasas. I don't know if they're saying Los Angeles just for people who might go and look for their house. Like if they say, for instance, they're in Sherman Oaks, like that's literally up the street from me, and like I know where the hills are, or Los Angeles is a very broad, like when they say LA, it's like it could be anywhere. It legitimately could be like anywhere. So I was just curious because the house is so secluded. And I think when they were in Texas, they built the house in Los Angeles. So I don't know, more curiosity. It's not like I'm going to pull up or anything, but.
I mean, you are on the West Coast, and I'm on the East. Well, I'm in Tennessee, which is technically on the east side of things. But do y'all not have big houses like that out there in like the city part?
In certain areas, like they're on the hill, so they built their house on the hill. So it depends on the area. Like where I live in North Hollywood, I'm in like a house which is bigger to some folks, but I'm also paying out the like yin yang for it. But you can also move further outside of Los Angeles where I'm looking to do, and you can get a bigger house, but still the prices are ridiculous.
No, this
but
is
before
really,
we continue, I just wanted to bring this up.
Go ahead.
Happy Canada Day. You know, I know we brought it up before, but since Maurice is a Canadian and she has some super fly pictures, I just wanted to, appreciate her appreciating Canada Day.
But you couldn't post the graphic.
The graphic is right there.
No, the graphic for the one that you had made for women's wrestling.
Oh, well, I mean that, but we're talking about Miz And Mrs. So I posted. I could pull up the graphic.
Yeah, go ahead. Because I do got a random question before we get into it. How much is y'all gas out there?
It's I honestly don't know, but I don't think it's as much as here because I don't hear any of my Canadian friends really complaining.
No, I mean like in California, how much is y'all gas?
God, I don't know. I don't look. It's like probably almost 7. I don't know. I don't even look anymore.
Oh, child, that is ghetto. Well,
I stay at home most of the time too, so I don't feel it as much as people who actually like
commute,
drive places.
That makes sense. Well, we start off the show after all the debacle with laundry. We see, Maurice is in the back having a cute little paint day with the girls, and honestly, I love to see her being a mom. I think, I love Maryse as a wrestler. I think she's one of the greatest divas, the best heels. She's not, I know her wrestling skill may not be the best, but when you think about like one of the biggest heels in the divas era during that time, especially like the diva search and everything, she's a good heel. With that being said,
for sure.
She gets a call from John Cone, one of the talent relations workers over at WWE, and he literally says, "We want you on Monday." Now, TK, how would you feel now being a mom, being a former Divas champion, and you're literally days away and they call you and ask you to come back? How would you feel?
Oh, I need some months, probably half a year. But kudos to her for dropping in on a Monday. I mean, the fact that she is a mom, like she doesn't, as far as I've seen, she doesn't really post any like workout stuff. I don't know why you're saying Lord Santana. She doesn't really post any workout stuff. Like they eat a lot. They eat well. So for her to like have that snapback, kudos to her. That's a good thing. Because I remember even when we interviewed Trish Stratus and she was doing a movie, I think she needed like two months to get ready for the movie. Not to say, I mean, she works out like crazy too, but to be TV ready is a whole different thing. So kudos to her for, you don't what's the saying? you don't have to get ready if you stay ready. So she was
Matt
ready.
Cardona, thank you.
Yeah.
Always ready. So listen, be like Matt Cardona, always ready. But with that being said, I thought it was very important to highlight what Miz said about having Maurice. He says that his character is 10 times better when she's around. And I honestly agree. We also saw him talk about how he lost 15 pounds from Dancing with the Stars. And he kind of had the opposite feeling. He's ready to get back into the ring. He's ready to, you know, build his character and of course some other things. But I thought it was very important that Maurice talks about her kids and being a mom. That's something that is very important to her. And for her to just, you know, drop everything and jump right back into it with no scheduling, no time to, like you said, you know, focus on the diet, which I think Maurice does a really good job at keeping herself up, you know, eating right, going to the gym in the mix. But listen, WWE said they want to come back and they want the it couple. Do you agree that Miz and Maurice are the it couple of WWE?
I mean, here's the question: whether couple has a TV show.
Here's another question: what other couple would you like to see have a TV show?
Honestly,
Bianca
and they're yes, definitely. But I guess because they're also Miz and Maurice's friends, and they're not WWE, but Taya and Johnny Mundo, they would have an amazing show.
Hilarious.
Especially with all their dogs. I think they would have a great show. Chelsea and Matt would have a great show.
Child, they would be arguing the whole time.
They'd be working the whole time, but they love going to like
Chelsea
theme parks and stuff
Chelsea
like that.
is an Aries and Matt Cardona is a Taurus. And when I tell you they are the funniest, like they are by far the funniest. Now, really quick, because you know I have to plug. Taya and Chelsea Green, along with Tennille Dashwood, are actually on their way to Australia right now. They have a match July 8th. World Series Wrestling. Do not forget it. World Series Wrestling has a vacated women's championship. Either Tennille, Taya, and Chelsea are going to be that champion, honestly. And it probably will be covered on our Dish and Indie shows that airs every Tuesday. But I agree. I think Taya Valkyrie and Johnny just have they're made for each other. I think all the wrestling couples we've been seeing, like even Charlotte and Andrade, have gotten married recently. Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green are going to be renewing their vows for Homecoming, GCW, if you don't know. So, you know, all the mess that happened with that, I would love to see that, you know, be played out on TV. But I think Miz and Maurice are definitely the it couple. Now, we'll get into their return more later into the show because that was, you know, later in the show. But Maurice talks about it being bittersweet. And so being in this position, seeing her as a woman wrestler, seeing her get back into the realm of things, she didn't want to wrestle. She was very adamant about that. Bobby brings up a good point. I'd like to see Deanna and Steve Macklin have a show too. I think they're so interesting as well. But she talks
There's some aggressiveness going on. Here comes the zodiac signs.
Listen, that's Jalen. Listen, it gets the Salt Shakers, we get rowdy. Okay, TK, we get rowdy in the comments. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Okay. So listen, you got sometimes I just let them live, child. Santana holding it down. My tag team partner up there, she may be injured, but she can still in them comments. So let's not get it twisted. But it's so relatable. Like her saying that, you know, I personally don't have kids or want kids for that matter. But seeing her be so vulnerable, talking about her bittersweetness is amazing. But of course, this is Miz and Mrs. And if you haven't been watching, I've been cutting Miz a lot of slack. You know, with some of the previous episodes, he was lying about how he felt about Dancing with the Stars. And I cut him some slack. I even cut him some slack last week about the whole fantasy football because, listen, I'm very competitive. I love sports. I don't care what it is. I know how that is. So with that being said, he took some bro time out with Dolph. Dolph Ziggler, former world champion, of course. And they decided to go tanning because obviously, you know, if you're the Miz, you're going to get your butt right. Okay? Like, Miz prides himself in his ass. Okay? Now, during the whole tanning, you know, he's getting advice. He's trying to figure out, you know, what's happening. But then they also have this little, like, whose butt is better kind of thing. And honestly, this is hilarious because I think that Miz prides himself in his image. You know, Maurice talked about this during the show. When you're in WWE, you are a wrestler, you are a talker, you are a damn near movie star. And I want to know, like, if you were getting back into the ring, what precautions or what measures would you have to take to make sure that, you know, okay, I'm about to come back after all this stuff. What do you have to like? What are some things that you got to square away?
Well, I mean, obviously the body, right? It's so story, because I used to do fitness modeling, and you would think that I you know, did the whole diet, all the 17 weeks thing, get ready for the show, whatever, and I had a coach, and she's like, okay, we're gonna get you tanned, and I looked at her like she was crazy. I'm like, like, why? She's like, oh no, just you just need one coach, you're good. So I go down to the lady, and you know, I'm like, all right. So I have my swimsuit on. She's like, no, you've got to take everything off. So I was literally like butt ass naked while this lady is like, you know, literally taking the suntan thing and spraying me down. It's like an okay feeling, but I understand why Miz does it. Sometimes he does it, it's a little bit too much, like he gets one too many coats. But you know, I guess. But obviously your body, right? But depends on who you are as a character. Some people, they have, you know, they don't have to look a certain way in order to be a WWE star or a wrestling, you know, star at all. So I think the main thing is you can look great, but if you can't talk, and some of them can't, I feel like that cuts the longevity of your career. Because if you can talk, you don't necessarily have to be in the ring or wrestling all the time.
Like Britt Baker. She's a good talker. And that's been my issue with the transition to Thunder Rosa. That's one thing that lacks for me is they put a title on someone who's not the best talker. And I think you bring up a good point. When you are when you're like a Miz and you're a great talker, you don't even have to worry about anything else. But I think he prides himself so well because he comes from that reality TV industry, knowing how imagery is played into television. And I think he saying that he doesn't do it for the public, I would be lying, but I definitely think he does it more for himself. Like, I think it has a lot to do with, like, he likes to see himself look good. And he always talks about Maryse and how beautiful she is and how he has a beautiful, like the most beautiful woman in the world, no Corey Graves. But I think that it makes sense. And I know for me, like, I would be hitting the gym every day like I have been. I don't know, like I've never, like, I've only done natural tanning, like actually like tan bathing, like sun bathing. I stay away from the tanning beds and everything. Even the spray tans, I just think it makes you
It's just weird.
It's so weird. But I think for me, I would have to, like, my hair, my makeup, like my nails, like everything would have to be on point. And then my gear, like,
oh yeah,
my gear 100%. Like, I would be with the best seamstress and making sure that everything looked apart, which brings us to our next segment that we saw. Now, Maryse is showing the girls. They go back to the back. They have such an amazing backyard. Like I would just live in their backyard at this point. But she's showing them clips of what she actually used to do and some of the things, you know, for them to see. And you know, they were kind of into it a little bit, but I think it was very important to see this moment because she does talk about how important it is to be a mom, and why not sit the girls down and really show them, like, you know, your dad is this phenomenal, you know, talent in WWE, but mom was also out here doing her thing, you know, from the diva search to, like I said, I even remember the segment that she did with Gail Kim, where she thought that Gail Kim did not know French, and she was talking shit to Gail Kim the entire time. And then she gets to the back and Gail Kim starts speaking French too. And she's like, no, I've known what you said the whole time. And then honestly, Maurice has one of the best entrances. Like that whole, like when she turns her neck up, like she's so good. And I think that a lot of people forget that this business is sports entertainment driven more than professional wrestling. Like I always say this, like WWE is sports entertainment. Your AEW, your Impact, your MLW, GCW, that's professional wrestling. Now you might get a little, well, not in GCW, you ain't getting sports entertainment in GCW, unless it's a death match, you know. But it was really good to see Maurice have that moment with her daughters. What was your initial thoughts when you saw that?
Well, it's great to have this stuff documented like it is. Like, I mean, I think back to, like, you know, Total Divas with Natty and her dad has since passed away, but she has some of those moments just, you know, there that she can literally like look up on YouTube or whatever. So it's great because, like, when you think of your parents and, you know, now that you're older, you know that they were once young too, but you can only envision it to a certain extent, you know, either through other people's stories or whatever, but to actually like visually see it, like, I think it would be amazing, and it'd be a trip. So, like, you know, you're gonna have a whole generation, because we document everything now. You're gonna have a whole generation that they're gonna see. Not only can they see themselves growing up through social media, they can see their parents as well. So I think it's cool. And curious to see, you know, if we fast forward, what the kids are gonna be like. Are they gonna gravitate towards wrestling? Are they not going to be, you know, much wrestler? What do Maurice and Miz think about that? Like, what's their goals? So I think it's pretty cool. I feel like the kids could really care less. They're at that age where it's just like, yeah, that's cute, but come and play with me. So you know, I think, like Maurice said, like a few years from now they'll really appreciate it. But right now, kids don't care about that stuff. They care about the here and now, what's in their face.
They don't, because like even going back and looking at Charlotte, like Charlotte used to go to the shows, and I remember like Charlotte would be crying when Rick would be in the ring at times, and there would be crazy. And if you guys don't know, Charlotte Flair had no plans of living on the legacy. You know, it was supposed to be her brother, but unfortunately he passed. Charlotte Flair was in a full contract in volleyball down in Florida, and then next minute, you know, she's at the Performance Center. And I think that, and I know The Rock's daughter has been training as well. And she
got signed like a year ago.
She did. And I don't know if they're just kind of like wanting to do it in the right moment and everything. I thought she was actually going to be included in the NXT Women's first ever breakout tournament. But we didn't see that. But I think it's important because you start to see, it makes you wonder, like with Miz and Maurice both having, you know, strong wrestling backgrounds, it makes you wonder, like, are the girls going to grow up and actually want to hit the ropes, or are they going to do something else? Before we move on, I'm curious, if you were a wrestler yourself, would you, I'm not going to say like let your kids wrestle, but would you push them, or would you try to keep it away from them getting into the ring with everything that we know now with injuries that can happen, CTE, like so many things that could go wrong. Would you like if they were like, Mom, I want to be a wrestler, would you try to talk them out of it, or would you be like, okay, let's do it?
Tough, because like I had all intent when I had my kids to push them into sports, but I wouldn't push them into track. Like I ran track, and there's like no money in track. So if they said they wanted to do that, I'd be like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. So I would push them into, I love competition, I love sports, and I love, like, it's a game. Like imagine if you could be, like Maurice said it, I don't know if she said it this episode or last episode, but it's like it's not a job to her. So imagine if you can do something you love from, you know, a young age until you're like an adult, and, you know, support your family out and still, you know, travel and do all that stuff. So I would, I might push them into something else. It might not be wrestling, but then also too, you know, we don't know what wrestling is going to look like, and sports in general is going to look like in the next 10 to 15 years, especially with AI. Like you have all these fantasy stuff, you have the gaming, you have so many things where simulations, you have so many things where you know, the physicality of it might not be, you know, what we're used to seeing. And what does that mean for people who want to become wrestlers? Or is that even going to be a thing? So long story short, I would say no because of injury, and there's no guarantee. But I would also want to push them towards something that there is like longevity, like, you know, soccer, you can play for a long period of time, golf, like those type of sports is what I would push my child towards versus something that has a shorter shelf life.
That's true. And I will say to that point, I like that we're getting back more into professional wrestling instead of gimmick wrestling. I feel like for a long time, the sports entertainment part of WWE was so focused on these crazy stories, especially, you know, with the women. We know how that's been. Mm-hmm. They put them in crazy storylines. But now, and I'm going to be honest, a lot has changed due to the women's evolution. You see people like the Four Horsewomen, Natty, Naomi, you know, and then you get stars like of today, like Rhea, Bianca Belair, you know, so the mold has changed. And I think there's, especially for the women, I think there's way more longevity when it comes to what you want to do. But you were right. She actually said that tonight on the episode when she goes back and she says, I hate saying that it's a job because it doesn't feel like a job because it's actually what I love to do. I think for me, even though I don't want children at all, I would definitely be like, so I jokingly say this all the time. Like when I watch Deonna Purrazzo, I feel like a proud parent. I'm always like screaming at the top of my lungs. I lose my voice. You have to ask Santana or anybody that goes to the Impact shows. So I think I would be there at the training. I actually met the Kiki WWE on Instagram, and I posted her on the page. She's 14. She's been training with Baron Black and a lot of the young Black talent in Atlanta. You know, she's inspired by Sasha and Bianca, and it ties into representation too, because when you see people like Naomi, when you see people like Sasha, when you see people like Bianca, even Tasha Steelz and Jay, when you see Black women in wrestling and not just a white male all the time, there are kids that are growing up that are like, wait, I can do that. I want to do that. I love that. And when I talk to her, and I've been watching her in the ring, I think that for me, if I was a parent, I would be there. And her mom has been there every step of the way watching her. I think for me, I'm so competitive that I would have to take a step back. They would have to actually put me out of the training because I would be there literally every moment, because as much as I would love it, I would be so scared. Like I mean, you get so scared, but then you have moments like you see Bianca Belair's parents jumping over the almost jumping over the barricade when she wins. So I think it's a I'm not gonna say a double-edged sword, but it could be a catch-22 in a sense of like I would push my children because I love it, and if they love it, I love that even more. But I would be a little, like you said, I would be a little hesitant with injuries, and you just, I mean, you never know. You know, look what happened to Paige. Paige has been out, God knows when.
And then it's also the wear and tear in the body as well. If you look at any like, retired athlete, I mean, I've had 2 torn hamstrings, back injuries, etc. But you look at any like retired athlete who's like played for a very long time, the way that they walk is like different. Like the wear and tear on your body is extensive. And yes, I was watching, I forgot what school it was. I think it was oh my God, what's his name? Booker T school. They were just talking about their new students. Yeah, and I'm seeing them do all these amazing things, and yes, it's safe, and they make sure it's safe, but you're still taking those bumps. And I think it was either Gail or X-Pac who said your body has a certain amount of bumps in it. You don't know how many bumps there are until your body's like, I've hit that capacity. So like knowing that, you don't know. Your mind could be like, okay, I want to go, but you might have bumps that they'll take you maybe 2 to 3 years, and you haven't hit that high point in your career. So yeah, there's a lot of factors. I'm definitely a proponent now, especially with college sports, that if you're going to put all this time in it, you need to figure out a way to get paid. So that would be my, I would come from also business aspects. Like, we're not going to be doing this. Love of the game is great, but let's get these bills.
Listen, people love to say wrestling is fake and this, that, and the third, but baby, they take bump after bump after bump. That heel is still a sport. It may be scripted, but at the end of the day, they are the physicality. You train like crazy. And travel, people don't even think travel takes a toll on your body too.
Oh yeah.
So with that being said, you guys, the It Couple is back in WWE. Oh my God, I was so excited. Like, y'all have no idea. Like, I love a good freaking heel. Like, and a heel couple is just, it's crazy. Like, they are literally the epitome of couples when it comes to WWE. I know they have a lot of competition outside of WWE. They're actually, I think Miz is still close friends with Johnny and Matt Cordell. So, I'm sure there's some competition that lies or better, who's the best couple. But in WWE, they have been the prevalent couple. Now, of course, you guys, they faced off with Beth Phoenix and Edge, and they were naming themselves the Grit Couple, which I don't know how you feel, but that was cringy a little bit.
I mean, they were, you saw what they were trying to do. They were trying to make it work. It was a good segment, and I am for, like, this is like, harkening back to the AfterBuzz days. I am for, like, doing a reality where okay, they're couples.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't know what's happening with Naomi, but the fact that Naomi has a whole husband that she travels with, that just seemed like a storyline that was like already there. Hopefully we have
they teased it a little bit with Mandy Rose.
They did slightly. No, they teased it twice. They had the Mandy Rose, and then prior to that, I think she walked out with him or something. She like balleted for them, but it wasn't anything where you can actually sink your teeth in. Like, why didn't they go up? Why didn't Naomi and John go up against Miz and Maryse? Like, you could have actually did legitimate mixed tag teams and actually did some type of story, stuff like that. So I'm all for that, and hopefully with Montez and Bianca, they're gonna use the fact that they're actually real life couple in some type of storyline.
Because if you think about it, we saw Miz and Maryse have a feud with John Cena and Nickie when they were together. They also had a feud, if I'm not mistaken, with Bryan Danielson and Bree. I think they had I'm not mistaken, they were in a whole match together.
Yeah, they were a whole match. I think it led up to like a pay-per-view or something.
Yeah,
Recently, 2-3 years ago.
I recently watched that. And I think that like I'm opposed to having the couples together only because it gets a little attitude error for me. Like with the whole like Naomi and Mandy like fighting in the hotel.
Well, yeah, that was weird.
That was so weird. But if it's done properly to where you make, like, I think that Edge and Beth, the way they played this story out, I thought was done properly. Mm-hmm. I think that it was done in the right manner. And even though, like, I just felt like there were some things that I just really didn't enjoy. I think that Edge and Beth, I didn't know until recently that they were even married.
Oh wow! Yeah, I think they did like a. I knew that, but I think that's just because of Pac. But I think they had like a whole 24. They had something where, you know, it was they were talking about like her motherhood, and when I think she even might have mentioned it when she was announcing for NXT. So yeah, they're not like all the way out there, but it also could be too that Edge was also gone for so long, and we're so used to seeing a version of Miz and Maryse in some way, shape, or form over the last 5-6 years, and then the fact that they also have a reality show. So this not everybody has that opportunity, so they're in our faces regardless. Like if you don't watch wrestling, the show's doing well that they have 3 seasons. So,
and it does. I did not like. I used to watch it like when it would come on, but this is actually my first season actually like watching in completion with everything, and I'm actually glad I did because I just think what they're doing obviously is working. But of course, when you get back on the road, you got to worry about what's going to happen with the children, and who other than Barb's herself coming to save the day. I absolutely love this woman. I love her passion for Miz. All she wants to see is Miz and Maurice win and win and win. And of course, she didn't have no problem taking care of the kids on a good old Monday night. And you know, ain't no black eyes happening with Barb's. She not gonna let them kids do nothing crazy. She gonna have them eat. I feel like Barb's is like, she one of them grandparents that be having the kids on the schedule. Whereas George and Marjo, they gonna let the kids run wild, do whatever the hell they want to do. Barb's like, okay, we're gonna eat at this time, and then baby, you know what I'm finna do? I'm finna clean. Okay.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Can she come to my house? Because
Barb's, I'm sure she had a field day. Okay, her house is. Oh, like I was trying to look at her kitchen when Miz was over there last week. Well, a couple weeks ago. And man, Barb's keeps it spotless. But of course, like I said, she gonna have them boom, boom, boom. Back on the road again, the It couple. And Maurice is getting ready. Of course, it doesn't take Miz that long to get ready. So he's chilling in the bed. And there was a few things that were discussed during this time. In the confessionals, they're having an ass competition, trying to figure out who has the better ass. And y'all know, like I said earlier, Miz is very prideful of his back area. Like he's stacked, and he wanted the world to know.
Compared to like Bobby Lashley, though, or
now Bobby's sitting. Austin's sitting too.
Yeah, maybe it's a different sitting for non-melanated people. Like I don't know.
Maybe that's true. That's true. I could see that. Thank God for my melanin. He ain't got something back there. I don't know what Miz think he's carrying.
It's a different carry. Like
the spectrum, the measuring stick.
There's a spectrum, because remember at one point, before the Kardashians made it popular, like you had, and I say quotations, you had the booty of the Black woman that was looked down on. Like it wasn't a good thing to have it like a big booty. But now people are paying for it. But now you have like the down south, like the badonkadonks that's all natural. Like there's a whole spectrum of booties out there. So maybe, you know, for Miz in his, you know, in the circle, his booty looks good.
He's carrying something. Now, when you compare him to Bobby or the likes of Ace Austin, for those that don't know, he's over in Impact, Thighs of a God. Honestly, like, and shout out to Gia Miller, because Gia Miller be posting all the pictures of Ace Austin. It's just so funny. Why y'all got Nickie in my name?
Oh, that was Nickie.
That was me. I do apologize. I'm sorry. I thought I hit TK. She is filling in for Santana. Santana's TK.
I even know this.
Filling in, yes, today. Ooh, But no, I don't know. I have never paid attention to Maryse, like her figure. I'm just always looking at her photos and how, like, she looks different in every photo, but not in a bad way. Like,
yeah, that's like makeup and hair and angles.
It's like glam. She's always giving us glam. We actually featured a lot of her looks during her return on Turnbuckle Glam. And Turnbuckle Glam is brought to you every Sunday, so make sure you check it out. All the fabulous looks, from Gear of the Week to Gem Hotties to Selfie Queens to Glam Special, and of course, Feeling Myself. And Maurice is a resident over there. She shows the looks. I think the only thing that she's never been in, the only category she's probably never been in is Gem Hotties, because that's always the hardest one. That's
why I'm curious about. She doesn't, from what I remember and what I've seen thus far, she doesn't really post like her workouts. So I don't know if it's just like eating based that she stays like fit, or like that's what I want. That's the secrets I want to know.
Child, I thought it was funny that she said she was happy to take a shower by herself, because she always had the kids running in and out, so she could actually enjoy herself, like taking a shower, curling her hair and everything. She looks amazing. I really didn't know. I don't know why, but I really thought Maurice was one of those people that just showed up to WWE and like let everyone else take care of the hair and makeup. So when I saw her, like,
and with reality TV, it's still not even it's scripted. So because you have to think too how often Maurice changes her hair, the hair length and the extensions. Like, if you're on a show like that, in theory, you know, yes, you're gonna do that and, you know, talk and stuff like that, but guarantee, like, I don't think they're like, okay, cool, we got the shot, you finish curling your hair and then we'll be back. Like, I highly doubt that
makes sense.
Yeah, that's not.
You fooled me.
Yeah, that's not.
She fooled me. Well, they were trying to figure out, you know, Maurice had a good question. She was like, are we still the bad guys? And honestly, I don't think you can make the It Couple faces. I think that would be absolutely horrible. I think that they have to be heels, because they're one of the, like, both of them separately are some of the biggest heels we've ever seen in WWE from such a long time. They have such a long span. Would you want to see them face at all, or do you think it wouldn't go over with the crowd? Do you think,
I mean,
in the trenches?
What's the harm in trying? Like, we have, and this is the good and bad thing about, you know, WWE and most wrestling promotions. It's all year round. Like, WWE takes no breaks. And, you know, we often see them, you know, flounder in a lot of ideas, but they're essentially like, think of every idea that you've come up with. And if you were going to put it on TV, every idea that you've come up with, every one of those ideas is not going to hit. So, I mean, I would be curious to see if they can make it work. And then, you know, if they fail at, then they just go back to being heels.
And Santana brought up a good point too. They were faced when Miz had his feud with Shane. Of course, we saw George in the ring with the infamous photo, which was so crazy. I thought Miz and Shane really had a really good feud as well. And then she says the crowd loved it as well. Wait, was it George? Was George in the Shane, or was he in the AJ Styles? I'm gonna have to wait on Santana to tell me that one, because I thought George was in the Shane McMahon feud, but sometimes I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to men's wrestling, I really don't pay attention in WWE.
That part.
It was okay.
Genesis of AJ.
Okay, you right. I'm gonna be honest. Shout out to Trey Miguel, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even probably care as much as I do about men's wrestling, especially. I think Impact they just know what to do with their men. I think WWE, I'm not really big on story. I like pure technical wrestling. I like the Kurt Angles back in the day, the Jerichos, the Dean Malenkos. Like, I like that style of wrestling. I'm more of a technical. Oh no, it was Shane at WrestleMania. Okay, great. So I was right. But thank you for clarifying, because I always ask Santana, because a lot of us took a break during wrestling, and Santana never stopped. She never stopped watching, period. She's watched from the beginning. I took a break during some time because I don't know. But I had to go back, and I used to, like, honestly, I couldn't stand the Bella Twins, and now I love them. And
they were kind of the reason that I've been in and out of wrestling, and they were the reason I was doing radio at the time, and Total Bellas was on. And believe it or not, I was also personal training some of the radio personalities.
Yeah.
So while I was training somebody, Total Bellas was on TV at the gym. Yeah. And that's how I kind of got back into wrestling. And then everything kind of, snowballed from there. So yeah, it was kind of because of them that I kind of got back into this era of wrestling. So yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. Y'all know why I came back. We don't even have to say her name at this point. But with that being said, we see them arrive to the arena. Some fans stop them. They stop, of course. I mean, just being so generous and just so overwhelming, like with the just happy to be back. They run into Dolph, of course. Miz gets a little jealous because he didn't get the welcoming that Maurice was getting. We see the New Day, and then we see Sonya, and Sonya is like, "Do you want to wrestle me? Because I'll get in the ring with you, Maurice." And I was very happy to see them, be able to have that moment, and a very welcoming moment, because of course it is scripted, you guys. A lot of these people that feud in real life, they're really friends in real life. And I know a lot of people did this with Charlotte and Becky. And it just was a horrible time. And I think people really forget that, like, outside of this, things are not how they may seem on television. We've definitely, like, I remember even about the whole Bliss and Sasha thing in NXT. Like, I remember them, and they had a legitimate feud outside of the ring, but it made it 10 times better when they would get in the ring. So it does definitely help sometimes. But of course, they take some time, call the kids, and, make sure everything is okay. And they return. The It couple is back. Now, what did you think about the feud that they were put in with Edge and Beth?
I mean, it made sense for the time. I think the time that they had them come, it was like WWE was in a dip, if I'm not mistaken. So, it feels like too, anytime Miz leaves and comes back, there's always a little bit of a bump, because Miz is annoying. It's like you love to hate him, or you just, you just like him in general, but you love to hate him because he is that annoying person who, not only are you annoying, you're doing good at your job. Like, it's one thing if this person's annoying, but they're a terrible wrestler, or they're terrible at this or terrible at that. But it's like you're annoying and you dress well and you do good at your job and your wife is hot and you have the list goes on, which is great, because when he does come back, it's like, oh, now I have somebody. It's like you like to hate him. It's like those people who like complain about everything. But it's just a part of the whole the whole thing. So I think it was a good feud. I don't like, I like when they had, and obviously they got rid of him. That was such a short stint, Johnny Drip Drip. But like, I like when Miz was partnered with him, with Johnny Mundo or Johnny, however
Johnny Elite, Johnny Wrestling, Johnny.
Yeah, so many Johnnies. But him and Maurice, they just have this connection. But I think also too, knowing that she's not gonna be doing long extended stories, we know that's not gonna happen anymore. Like, it just kind of, it makes for, okay, so what's the storyline gonna be? They're gonna make it compact.
Yeah, I don't even think she was in the match that long. I know there was a few spots that they had with her, jumping off the top rope and stuff. Jesus, my spam. But I don't know. I thought it was good to see them back. I thought the feud was interesting. And then, of course, Miz goes on and does his stuff. He has to worry about Logan Paul now. Did I say his name right? Is it Paul Logan?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Logan Paul.
Got two first names, so it'd be confusing. But that's still carrying over, obviously, with everything going on. But we get to the ending, and of course, they're in the kitchen, whipping it up. Miz is thinking with his, obviously, and he ready to get down to the business. Okay, he hit on the road. He done lost his 15 pounds. He back in action. He done got his stamina up. So they go and do their own thing. On the next episode, though, Maurice wants a dog. And
looking for a dog forever.
She look like she want a canine. And I don't know what. I can't wait to see this next week because I'm not the biggest animal fan at all, but it's especially dogs. So when I saw that, I jumped a little bit because that.
Expensive. They're not as expensive as children, but like, if you want a purebred, that's a whole nother cost. But then even adopting a dog, and now it might be a little bit easier. I can only speak for LA County. Like, a lot of people are now giving back their animals, or just essentially kicking out their animals because everything's so expensive. The gas is expensive, rent is going up. People are becoming homeless.
In a different country over there.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. So, but even to like adopt a dog from some of these like adoption agencies, it's expensive, and then they go through a background check. So it's a whole like scenario, and then we're talking pet insurance, depending what breed you get. Like, I had one dog, he's a Pekingese, his eyes always popped out, so that was one thing. So like, yeah, it's a whole. Yeah, it was. I've never seen it like it. It happened twice. The first time I almost passed out, and it was crazy. And then the second time he had to get an operation, but you have to pay for that. And then on top of that, when it's time for the dog to go, you have to pay to essentially take care of your dog. So it's just like it's all bad.
Listen, I tell TK this all the time. She gonna have to start coming on because I'm telling you, TK be having some crazy stories, y'all. Now, I do appreciate TK hopping on for my tag partner this week, as she is on the injury list, you guys. So that means she will not be here for the rest of the week. With that being said, that is our post show for Miz and Mrs. episode 6 of season 3. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. I don't know why the hell she is in these comments talking about 6 to 8 months, because baby, it is a fool. She is not Bailey, nor she is not Cody Rhodes. So from what I heard, she loves John Cena, and she does one of those John Cena recoveries. So she will be back very shortly. But before we get out of here, of course, y'all know I love to do the rundowns, and we've been trying to do all of the rundowns. We've been trying to do all of the rundowns every day. So I don't know. TK's gonna have to figure this one out. I don't know what's going on with AEW Dynamite tonight. I know that Al said she was gonna be out. Not sure with Mika right now.
Wait, what? I'm just hearing all this. Was this in the chat?
No. Well, it was on the
Oh, gotcha. Okay. You guys
yeah, it was
talked
on the
about
show.
Turnbuckle Line.
So
Okay.
with that being said, if no one fills in tomorrow, or if push comes to shove, I will be doing AEW Dynamite tomorrow, and the show will be a little later. But we'll see. We'll see. You never know. Anything could happen. On Thursday, of course, there's no Creep Squad this week. But before all of the shenanigans that happen in Impact, make sure you check out the NXT and NXT UK wrap-up show for the week with Katrina and Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that being said, y'all, I'm gonna get a little closer. Tomorrow night, I will be doing Impact Wrestling all alone, but it's different from Monday Night Raw.
Tomorrow night, or you mean Thursday?
No, we're in Wednesday. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. You're still.
I was like, wait, what?
Oh God. Yes. Remind the people, Santana. I'm your interim editor-in-chief right now, Nickie Bougie. Thursday, y'all. I am so excited. Like you have no idea. I get, first of all, Deanna versus Mia Yim. Let's talk about it. Trey Miguel versus Laredo Kid. Y'all, I'm probably gonna spend 30 minutes on Trey alone. Okay, so tune in Thursday night, 11:30 Central Time. Make sure you check that out because I will recap every single match from Impact Wrestling. No, I was not at this show. I'm very sad. I want to cry about it. But of course, my people over at some other places sent me the deets, and I do know for a fact that Trey is okay. So I'm just happy about that. On Friday, Santana will not be here for AEW Rampage, but you will be joined with Stephanie, of course, our lovely host. She will be breaking down everything that happened. We don't have any pay-per-views this week, so on Saturday, we don't have a show, but make sure you go back and watch every single show from this week. That includes Turnbuckle Glam. That includes Monday Night Raw post-show. That includes Dish and Indies. That includes this show here. That also includes all of the shows that I just gave you, along with some amazing interviews that we have on YouTube. Don't forget, now we are exclusively live here on Twitch. So make sure you follow and subscribe. Make sure you're following and liking on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch, and TikTok as well. And Sunday, of course, we'll be back with Turnbuckle Glam. So make sure. I know. I do. Listen. Don't nobody listen. I don't care. Don't nobody do the rundowns like me. Okay. I don't need it. Before we get out of here, TK, let these people know where they can find the Canadian Assassin.
But you can find me everywhere. You can find me everywhere at TK Trinidad. And also, don't forget to check out our new show, WWT Live, every day at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Wow, it's if you want to get all your news updates, all that good stuff, definitely check it out. There's stuff that I like. It's crazy. I really love the format. We have different hosts and podcasters from different podcasts hopping on and essentially, telling us what's going down, because it's really hard for as much wrestling there is. There's a lot going on, and you can't just be all up in Twitter and in the dirt sheets and every day. It's not a thing. Can't do it. So it's a new show, so definitely check it out. Monday to Thursdays, 3 p.m. Pacific time.
Ooh, y'all. I just had to laugh because CEO back here doing business. But listen, y'all. With that being said, there was a news show earlier today, the first one. We had some amazing people hop on. So make sure you check it out. It is on Twitch. So if you're not doing anything, you can tune in. It's very I love the format. I personally won't be there because of my schedule and everything. But y'all know me. I'm so nosy and I don't care. I'm always in the comments. Okay. I'm gonna be I be popping them comments up fast. You better ask TK. I be having 3 comments before she say 2 words. Okay. With that being said, I'm gonna say it. Y'all, just pray for Santana, y'all. Okay, she on the internet on her birthday.
Wow.
Laughing,
Oh, wow.
bro. Don't be laughing. Pray for Santana. She on the injury list. You have been rocking with the CEO and one half of the dominating tag team, the Salt Shakers, the originals. Come on now, y'all already know how we get down. Hashtag Salt Shakers. Don't misspell it either. Come on now, let's be real. And we are exclusively here on Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet, and that ain't changing. Until next time, y'all. We'll see you later.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.